Good morning po dito sa Tapatan sa Aristocrat. Ako po si Sky Ortigas at wala dito yung aking partner na si Sir Melo Acuña kasi nasa China siya ngayon. So, for today, kasi it's Halloween season, meron yung mga guests natin na hindi naman pang Halloween. But anyway, today, as you can see, our guests are young people. Kaya pag-uusapan po natin ang social media and the millennials. Ano ba yung, bakit may yung mga kabataan ngayon mas nasa social media? And I've read sa isang report kanina, yung mga millennials daw, they are the ones na marami sa kanila yung narcissistic. At the same time, marami yung, yun yung tawag daw dito sa millennials, hindi siya, ang millennials daw is from Generation X. Pero ang tawag sa kanya daw ngayon is Generation Me. Bakit Generation Me siya ngayon? So we have guests for today who can tell us more about it. First, let's all welcome Mr. Michael Lacsina from the President of Youth Pinoy. They're a group of online missionaries. We also have Miss Christine Ann Pagirigan. She's the editor-in-chief of a new website that's for the millennials. It's thejunglepost.com. Also, we have the president of Love Life Philippines. Kasi yun, magtatanong tayo about Love Life mamaya. So let's all welcome Mr. Peter Pardo. And kasi ito, uso to sa mga millennials ngayon kasi mas gusto daw nila na online lang nagwo-work. So let's all welcome from Online Jobs University.com, hindi pala Philippines, it's onlinejobsuniversity.com. Let's all welcome the Managing Director, Mr. Genesis Leonico. Yan. So ngayon, ang unang tanong ko sa inyo, kayo ba ay mga millennials? So, uunahin ko yung President ng Youth Pinoy. Anong opening statement mo sa mga millennials? Ano ba yung mga kabataan ngayon? Bakit sila nasa social media? Tsaka bakit Generation Me ang tawag?
Good morning. Ako si Michael Lacsina from Youth Pinoy. Yes, I'm a millennial. Ang alam ko, 80s, 90s, and 2000s yung mga millennials. Why Generation Me? Siguro na because of social media, they have that platform, we have that platform to express ourselves. Kumbaga, this is a real world. There is another quote-unquote world that is social media or internet world. At doon nagkaroon sila ng platform to express themselves even they do not express themselves in this real world. So kaya I think may Generation Me because in that manner, in that platform, they can do whatever they want. They can post, they can express themselves, they can share, even if they do not express it or share it in this real, quote-unquote, real world.
Sir Peter Sir Peter, di ba, meron tayo, kung makikita mo ngayon yung mga kabataan mas gusto nilang mag-social entrepreneur, mas gusto nilang mag-create ng sariling craft, parang nawawala na yung being an employee. So napapansin ko yan ngayon kasi kung yung mga fresh graduates ngayon, parang mas nandun sila on the business side, magtayo ng sariling startup company. Ano po yung parang advantages nito ngayon sa country natin? Kasi itong si Sir Peter ay nagwo-work din sa government natin. So,
well, actually, marami tayo, if you will notice, marami tayo ngayong mga businesses, in fact, na nag-venture na rin sa online business. Kasi nakita nga natin na itong social media ay naging bagong platform wherein we can market our products. At ang maganda pa nito, nakaka-encourage siya ng mga millennials, ng mga kabataan to engage in business at gamitin yung social media as a way of marketing.
Oo nga. So, Sir Genesis, ano bang napapansin nyo ngayon marami na bang mga Pilipino ngayon na into online jobs? So, kung ikaw, meron ka bang data na ilan sila, ilan yung nandun ilan yung nag-work as online? Tapos, anong advantages nito ngayon sa bansa natin? Tsaka, by the way, what kind of online jobs are there now?
Okay. Magandang umaga po. So, ayun. There are almost, based sa statistics na nakuha o data, no, there are around 1.5 million. There are around 1.5 million confirmed na nag-earn online.
1.5 million Filipinos.
Yes, that is confirmed. Yung mga unconfirmed o mga hindi pa umaamin, mas marami pa. So, we can safely say double it to 3 million. And right now, in fact, even the government is actually promoting that where there's this program na tinatawag na Rural Impact Sourcing where we go around the different areas in the country, especially the rural areas, to actually encourage them to have or venture into online work because yung mga typical opportunities na available sa mga urban areas, hindi talaga abot doon. Sabi nga maaring walang high-tech na mga gadgets dyan or any other form of work pero there's internet. And whenever there's internet, there's always an opportunity for online work. So talagang marami na and it's just not the parang...
Paano yan pag walang internet sa area mo? Pag mabagal, mahina?
Well, the thing about it is, of course, ibabagay mo rin yung type of work. One thing that you will notice, or at least if you're gonna really look deep into that, hindi naman nagbago yung work yung mode lang on how to deliver the service. So, for example, it's the same thing as doing writing work. The difference is, because of technology, you can do it anywhere. So, kung mabagal ang internet, then probably you can do transcription work or writing or anything that probably you can download muna yung file, do it, finish it, and then upload it some other time. Yung mga tipo kasi na home-based na parang call center, yun ang medyo namimili ng lugar at speed.
Kasi kailangan may speed na
Kailangan
internet.
matino. So, yun. So,
So,
marami
meron
na
din
talaga.
palang gano'n na call centers, pero work at
Home-based,
home.
oo.
Bago yan na. So, Chrissy, di ba editor ka ngayon ng Jungle Post? Ang sinasabi natin, yung The Jungle Post is a website for the millennials. Ano ba yung mga parating binabasa ng mga kabataan natin? Bakit parang Generation Me ang tawag? So what are those articles that... Tsaka kung mapapansin mo ngayon, yung mga articles online, meron listicles yung tawag nila. Tapos pag about you, talagang kiniklik natin. So bakit ganon? Ano yung mga nangyayari online?
Okay. Good morning po. Good day sa inyo. Katulad ng nasabi ni Ate Sky, meron kaming startup na website called The Jungle Post. And ang target audience talaga niya is yung mga millennials. Ngayon, ang na-observe namin sa first few months namin, sobrang dami kasi talagang tao online. So parang everyone has Facebook na. Ilan na lang yung percentage ng Filipinos na walang Facebook or ibang tao na walang social media, ganyan. So parang everyone is in cyberspace na. So why not put something na yun yung target? And then eventually, naisip namin, target naman tayo sa youth. Tapos, medyo nagsimula kami na nangangapa kami. We tried, kasi yung team namin, we are a team of journalists. Graduate kami ng journalism. So, yung writing namin, sobrang traditional kami nag-start. Yung what, where, when, who, how, ganyan. Tapos, hindi siya bumibenta, guys. Mapapansin mo na ang benta talaga, yung more on engaging content, na nandun yung pagkatao ng writer. Na mas binabasa siya pag nakaka-relate yung mga tao. So yun yung mga bumibenta ngayon sa millennials. In a way na, I think people are somehow in social media kasi they want to connect. Na kahit wala sila sa tabi ng mga mahal nila sa buhay, yung mga OFWs, marami kaming readers na from other countries. I think cyberspace helps them feel na they are connected kahit malayo sila geographically. So parang yun yung hinahanap ngayon ng mga tao sa websites. Yung may engagement, may connection, yung kaya mo talagang makarelate. And yung listicles, I think nag-hit din siya kasi entertaining siya basahin. At the same time, it's informative. It's very fun in a way na nagsawa siguro yung mga tao na ang babasahin mo yung nasa newspaper, na parang alam mo na yung formula nun eh. Anyone can write na parang, ay alam ko ganito yung mangyayari, ito yung pagkakasunod-sunod. Pero when you say kasi na listicles, hindi mo alam kung ano yung sasabihin ng writer. Kasi depende yun sa personality ng writer. So very diverse siya. Kaya very surprising and very fun read pag mga listicles. Ganun. So tingin ko kaya siya.
Do you think, sige, any one of you can answer no? Do you think pag relationships yung pinag-uusapan, because of social media ba, nalalayo ba sila sa real relationships? Kasi there are people, I know, I have friends na nag-decide to really turn off their social media accounts kasi parang hindi daw sila nakapag-relate na with their other friends, with their families, ganon. Kasi Facebook lang sila ng Facebook. How do we manage social media in such a way na ma-maintain pa rin natin yung relationship natin outside and at the same time online? Mike,
Yung sa last question, how do we maintain our relationship with outside cyberspace? Una-una, discipline. Kasi, pag nandun ka na lang, ikaw lang mag-isa. Literally, ikaw mag-isa. Pero, online, marami kang kausap. Pero, you're not really engaging in a real world. So, discipline. One is discipline. So for them to maintain the relationship, they have to have a discipline. Kumbaga, may time sila to social media, may time sila to dine with people they love or spend time with their
tama na pag
people they
kumakain,
love.
huwag
Yeah.
muna mag-cellphone.
Right.
Merong ibang families, na rule nila yan walang cellphone sa dining room, ganyan.
Ako siguro, importante din kasi yung, tama yung sabi ni Mike, na yung discipline and also yung discernment. Marami tayong nakikita sa social media na hindi naman natin talaga alam kung totoong mga accounts o mga totoong taong to. No? I remember Cardinal Sin one time saying na, sabi niya, ang dami niyang meron daw nag-approach sa kanya, sabi, Cardinal, I'm your FB friend. Sabi ni Cardinal, oh, FB friend. Pero ang highlight niya dun sa kwento niya na yon, nawawala na yung totoong friends. Are we really friends? 'Di ba? Parang nagkita ba tayo personal? But of course, iba pa rin yung encounter mo with real people. I remember kanina na mention ni Sir Genesis, no. Advantage ba ang social media? For me, it can work both ways. It is an advantage doon sa mga out-of-school youth, for example, who wanted to engage themselves into business, mga micro-entrepreneurs. On the other hand, for me, nakikita ko din itong disadvantage because baka ang maging danger din nito, yung mga young people would no longer pursue schooling because they have this platform already wherein they can engage themselves into business without even going through the formal schooling. So, dalawa siya, kaya nga importante din na may guidance ang mga kabataan, may millennials.
Well, tama naman yun, no? Kasi minsan nga, kasi pwedeng i-YouTube mo na lang YouTube mo na lang yung ganitong hacks paano ko gawin ganyan, or kahit mga chemistry, ganyan, makikita mo na rin sa YouTube, may mga online classes na rin. So, pero sana din hindi mawala sa mga kabataan natin yung talagang desire to study, to graduate. And I think yan din yung goal ng Youth Pinoy, no, na aside from going online, sana din wag natin kalimutan yung mga offline friends natin, your offline na ginagawa natin. Hoy, Sir Genesis, may tanong ako. Pag ikaw ba pumasok sa isang online job, ano ba yung usual na ginagawa? May requirement ba? Nagbabayad din ba tayo ng tax, yung mga ganon? Ano yung mga nangyayari ngayon? Kasi maraming mga kabataan na gusto talaga mag-work from home. At saka kahit saan, coffee shops, pwede ka na mag-internet. As long as may data ka, connect mo lang. Pwede na. So, ano yung mga requirements to work online?
Well, unang-una kailangan talaga may internet kang matino. Yun eh. Unlike nga before, di ba? Pag lilipat ka ng bahay, ang tanong lagi, binabaha ba rito? Ngayon, iba na. May internet. Oo, may access ba? Iba na talaga kasi irrelevant na yung baha sa type of work. Now, to get started, well, of course, you need to have skills. Yun naman kasi talaga yung binabayaran talaga. And lagi ko nga sinasabi, especially pag nagtotalk ako sa mga harap ng students, sabi ko sa kanilang ganyan, we are now in a skill-based economy. Yes, your education is important. Definitely, you will learn a lot on that. But at the end of the day, kailangan kaya mong panindigan yung natapos mo. Hindi na tulad before na, okay, advantage mo dahil may diploma ka, but nowadays, iba na ang hinahanap ng mga businesses ngayon, especially yung talagang nasa technology side where kailangan talagang na kahit may diploma ka, okay, good, at least you have shown that you are determined, nakatapos ka and all, but show me, pakita mo kung kaya mo. So, isa yon. Now, sa tax, definitely, dapat naman magbayad. I mean, it's a standard and acknowledge na dapat magbayad. But of course, there are, sabihin na lang natin, iba-iba rin kasing ranges ng income ng mga nag-online work. There are some who are just, let's say, earning 15 to 20,000 a month. And it's so hard as a solo entrepreneur to actually, pay your taxes, manage everything else, na yun nga lang ang kinikita
Kasi
mo.
gagawin mo yun isa-isa, no?
Yes.
Ikaw talaga magpa-process nun.
Oo, ikaw ang HR itself eh. So, yun yung challenge nga. Kaya nga may mga bagong startups ngayon that addresses those things. Like BookBit, alam mo, accounting service yan where pipicturean mo lang yung resibo mo and then ipaprocess na, things like that. So, marami na. There are other companies na mag-facilitate na pagbabayad mo ng Pag-ibig, SSS PhilHealth, and so on and so forth. So, there's this really area where sinaserve na rin ng mga bagong startups and tech startups. So, getting started, it's I can say na it's easy as long as you really know what you can offer. No, as a skill. Some people think na kailangan technology-based yung skill set mo, pero hindi naman eh. Ang dami, meron ngang translator. I mean, may mga kilala akong ganun na yun ang trabaho.
Mga tutoring din, di ba? English tutor, mga ganun din.
Oo. Yung mga English, yan, common na yan eh. Pero I've seen a trend where may mga 2 years, 3 years na sila nasa online teaching, yung sa language and all, na gusto na nila umalis. Gusto nila pumunta doon sa tinatawag na freelancing na talagang yung online career na may flexibility, which is actually yung uri ng setup na may pagka-entrepreneur ka talaga.
What do you mean? Hindi ko magets yung online career na flexible. Anong ibig sabihin nun?
Ito kasi kasi 'di ba, halimbawa yung mga home online English teacher na ganyan, basically empleyado ka pa rin diyan eh.
Okay.
Oo. You're just work from home.
Meron ka pa ring 8-hour work.
Yes,
ganyan.
wala ka pang say kung paano siya tatakbo. May procedure na nakalatag for you. Even nga yung mga nag-home-based call center, yung nagko-customer support sila mag-isa lang sa bahay, I can say na it's a work-from-home job, but it is not a freelancing job, yung tinatawag. Because still, nakatali ka pa rin sa oras. So, iba yung tinatawag ko nga na online jobs lifestyle where you manage everything because you're the boss. So, you deal with the clients directly. Here are the services that I have, and this is the time that I can work. So, yung mga ganong setup. So
per oras yung bayadan sa'yo?
Pwedeng
Or
oras,
ganun? Or per
pwedeng
project
retainer,
base?
pwede ring project. It's up to you. It's your call eh. Kaya nga may freelancing. May mas malayang freelancing. Hindi yung iba ipit kasi. So, daming angles.
Kasi I've seen this article one time kasi tumitingin ako ng mga articles how to charge if you are making a website, paano maningil, paano if you're a graphic artist, paano maningil. Ang sinasabi kasi mas okay daw pag naningil ka based on the person na kausap mo na client, not on the time frame. Kasi minsan daw pag time frame, tama ba? Pag time frame, kasi itong website to kaya mo namang gawin eh, pero mas kaya pala nilang bayaran na mas malaki, di ba? Tsaka since ikaw yung gumagawa. So may ganun pala ngayon na pwedeng ikaw yung mag-decide how much you will
Maraming
charge.
variations talaga. Kasi
Pwede ka palang yumaman, Chrissy.
marami. In fact, there's this one teacher somewhere in Mindanao na kumita ng 3 million.
3 million pesos?
3 million pesos isang taon. By simply providing writing jobs. Basically, mga thesis writing and things like that. Mga master sa mga Amerikano. Sa mga ganon. So, ang tinanong naman, bakit di ka pa umaalis sa yung teaching job? Kasi aside from work, sabi niya, hindi. Yung passion ko talaga teaching. But, what sustains me is my online work. So, maraming aspect talaga na pinapasok yung online work aside from the work itself. So basically it enables you to fulfill your bucket list or something like that, or to help you achieve whatever you want to achieve in life. Support siya talaga eh. Ganun.
Dahil dyan, pag-uusapan naman natin yung support. Ano ba ang kailangan ng support ng mga millennials? Especially, what do you say or how do you address to parents na parang hindi sila nagkakaroon ng relationship sa mga anak nila kasi mas nakikita nila yung anak nila nandun lang sa social media. So, ano yung mga pwede nating sabihin sa mga magulang na dapat ba yung mga parents nila, natin, feeling millennial din, ano yung pwede nating advice sa kanya? Should they also get into Facebook? Kasi naalala ko, there's one mother na dahil sa anak niya, nag-Facebook din siya. Nung finalo niya yung anak niya sa Facebook, yung anak niya nag-Twitter, tapos nag-Instagram, hindi niya nag-post sa Facebook. So ano yung pwede nating sabihin sa mga magulang? Kasi tayo yung mga nakaka-experience ng mga millennials on a day-to-day basis. So ano yung pwedeng advice natin sa mga parents? At pag kayo naging parents, ano yung gagawin niyo?
Sige na, ako na. Sa tingin ko, it depends kasi on the millennial, the person itself. Kasi merong mga nag-aantay lang na pag nag-online din yung parents nila, matutuwa sila kasi meron na silang something in common. Meron din naman na, kaya sila nag-online kasi minsan gusto nilang lumayo na dun sa family. Na minsan nasasakal, ganun. So, depende kasi yun sa sitwasyon ng bata. Pero I think, first and foremost, para maintindihan mo yung millennial na yun, intindihin mo yung environment niya. Kasi sobrang drastic ng naging change. After years, tignan mo, online jobs, yun na yung uso. Social media, essential na.
Tsaka
parang hindi ka
how we
makakaano.
vote actually, no,
Diba?
minsan influence na ng social media. Like
Influential talaga.
right now, election sa US, parang halos social media yung nagpapatakbo. Also, somehow in a way, I believe one of the things na nagpapanalo sa president natin ngayon is
Social
because of
media,
social
yes.
media. Kasi
Doon talaga siya
kung hindi ko
nag-focus,
nakilala si President Duterte sa Facebook, hindi ko
Hindi ko
siya
siya
kilala as mayor ng Davao.
True. So, parang nandun na yung power. Online na talaga. It's part of our daily life na. So, challenge yun sa parents natin ngayon kasi hindi naman sila lumaki na yun yung trend. Diba? Parang yun yung number one challenge na, well, as parents, sana mag-adjust. In a way na may intindi nila yung mga anak nila na kaya siguro active yan sa social media kasi minsan nandun yung work niya. Kaya siguro active yan, ganyan. So, number one is find a common ground kung bakit or kung ano ba yung dahilan kung bakit active yan sa social media. And then siguro from there, we can meet halfway. Sometimes nga lang, mas challenging yun kasi may mga kabataan nga na yun nga, umiiwas. Yung ganon, hindi ko alam kung paano siya gagawa ng paraan. Siguro mas magandang kausapin na siya ng personal, ganon. Kasi it depends eh. Pero that's my number one suggestion. Try to understand the environment we live in right now. And then from there, find a common ground with the millennial. Millennial na tao, generation, yes.
Ako, I think it's just a matter of communication and yung pag-instill ng values. Communication, kasi for example, I believe that this is one of the realities our parents should learn to embrace. Kasi ito talaga yung generation na into social media. So hindi lang yun pagsabay sa kanila sa mga millennials. Bagkus dun sa pag-intindi at pagtuturo din nung pag-i-ensure na yung values of our young people are still intact. Kasi I know some friends, talagang tama ka, yung example na nag-Facebook, tapos yung mom nag-Facebook, nagko-comment sa Facebook, o dini-activate yung Facebook. So, that is not the proper way, the way I see it. It's just a matter, again, of communication, values, and acceptance. Yun.
Kasi ako, personally, naalala ko, nung nag-join ang mom ko sa Facebook, nilagay niya ako sa kanyang first to see. Merong ganun, di ba? So, nagagalit siya sa akin, bakit hindi daw ako nag-upload ng album, nung nag-travel ako, mga ganon. So, kasi gusto niya makita lahat. Tapos, feeling ko lahat ng friends ko kilala na niya. Tine-check siguro, mutual friends, ganyan. so yun yung nakakatuwa din. Pero sana, we should also acknowledge our parents na ganon, na hindi nila alam before yan, wala sa culture nila yan. Tapos katulad natin, nung mga bata tayo, mga grade school tayo, wala pa tayong cellphone, di ba? Ngayon yung mga kabataan, may cellphone na sa school. So, oo. So, ano ba napapansin mo, Mike, ngayon sa mga growing kid, mga gano'n, na may cellphone na sa school, yung minsan, iPhone 6 pa, mga ganyan. So, sana, ano yung mga napapansin mo sa kanila ngayon with all these things na technology is talagang is overpowering us right now?
Before ko sagutin yun, gusto ko i-affirm yung sinabi ni Peter na yung values pa rin sa pamilya. So, kumbaga kung ang isang individual, before going to social media, that person should have meron pa rin siyang baseline ng mga values, right values na manggagaling sa pamilya. Not just with the parents, but the whole family itself. Dun pa rin nagsisimula, first teacher nga natin, magulang natin. Tapos yung mga values na natututunan natin, as we grow old, galing sa pamilya. So pamilya pa rin talaga yung babalikan. We should have that still, the good values from the family. Yun nga, to answer yung sa question, ano yung mga napapansin ko for the new millennium? Since nagbago yung trend of how to do things, how to read things, how to get news or data, ngayon, mayroon akong kapatid, 16 years old siya, babae. So, usually we read sa books, di ba? Ako gusto ko pa rin, ganun pa rin eh. Pero siya, e-book. So, dun siya nagbabasa. Kahit gabi. Anytime, pwede siyang magbasa. Anywhere, hawak niya lang yung cellphone niya, pwede niyang gawin. Same thing with watching movies. Download ka, pag fake yung site, o whatever. Pero, anytime, anywhere, you can watch movies. Unlike before, you have to go to a movie house to watch movie. Pero dito, pag meron ka lang, tapos may headset ka, may cellphone ka, may headset ka, you can watch movies. So, nagbago talaga. At ang nagbabago ngayon, bukod dun sa easy access, maraming instant na bagay, pati yung pag-iisip ng mga kabataan, including me, there are things na instant pa rin. At somehow, nalilimutan namin yung value of waiting. Nalilimutan namin yung value of achieving something not in an instant or through hard work.
Sir James.
I actually agree on that, no, yung term na instant nga. Kasi aside from being a generation, the generation instant na rin to eh. And I think the challenge will even grow further, especially na even yung mga young kids talaga ngayon. Most of I have a 5-month-old son, and as much as possible, of course, we don't want exposure sa mga gadgets. But of course, certain, let's say, educational materials can actually be accessed through those
Tablets mo,
tablets, 'di ba? So doon pa lang na-expose na sila sa sa technology itself, and sooner or later talaga yung instant gratification of finding all the information you need will be there. So instead of before kasi 'di ba, ang usually trend is how to make things easier, quicker. I think hopefully in the next few years ang maging drive naman is how to make things more slow para hindi ganun to add certain roadblocks or to achieve a certain level, para sabihin na lang natin gamify the whole thing na lang para may reward, hindi ganun kadaling accessible. It's time to put some walls or gates.
Oo nga, kasi supposed to be may isa pa tayong kasama na psychologist dito pero hindi siya nakarating. Kasi gusto ko sana itakal, bakit ang daming kabataang nade-depress ngayon? Makikita mo sa social media, as in yung lahat ng mga sakit ng ulo nila, ang sila, doon nila nilarat. Minsan nag-away-away pa, sakit sa ulo sa boss or sa kaklase, sa best friend, ganyan. Doon mo makikita yung rant. Why do you think they do this? No? Na bakit sa social media sila dati hindi naman ganun eh. Dati pag may mga friends kayo, nag-aaway-away kayo, away tapos bate, ganyan. Pero ngayon, ilalabas mo sa social media, nakikita ng ibang mga kaibigan mo rin. So bakit kaya ganun na yung mga kabataan ngayon na sa social media nila nilalabas? Lalo na pag nasa Twitter ka, pag binasa mo yung mga ang sa Twitter, ang dami. I have friends na who are missionaries na nakikita mo, naglalabas ng angs sa Twitter. So bakit ganon? Ganon yung mga nangyayari ngayon.
Ako, Sky, I look at it positively. For me, parang mas nakikita ko siyang gift pa dun sa mga taong under that state kasi nagkakaroon sila ng outlet. Unlike wala talaga. Mas nagiging prone sila dun sa yung depression mas na-intensify, etc. While sa Facebook or sa social media, although nakaka-apekto rin sila negatively sa ibang tao, But if you will look at it, parang nakakatulong ka pa rin sa kanila kasi they are given the opportunity, the outlet, wherein they can share or just say what they want.
Kasi ang alam ko, doon din nagsimula ang vlogging eh. Naging outlet siya ng mga gustong writers na hindi nagkaroon ng chance to write or being published professionally, no? Or like ako, nung nag-start ako mag-vlog, kasi may vlog din pala ako, nag-start ako mag-vlog kasi gusto kong makakonect sa pamilya ko when I was outside the country. So, pwedeng ganun pala yung naging outlet. And which is yun yung nakakatawa. Pero, meron akong mga friends naman na nag-rant sila sa Facebook pero pina-private nila na only me lang nakakita. Para lang daw makapag-rant sila. May labas, which is good, no? So maybe that's a suggestion na pag gusto niyo mag-rant, only me lang. At least nalabas mo lang.
Sa tingin ko naman dun sa idea na to, dun sa reality na to, positive din siya, nag-agree ako kay Peter. In a way na writing, as a writer kasi totoo to eh, writing can be your catharsis. Na parang after mo magsulat, medyo naka-cleanse yung soul mo, yung sarili mo na, okay, nalabas ko na. Tapos marirealize mo, okay, ito pala yung nangyayari sa akin. So nagkakaroon ka ng context kung nasan ka ngayon. And eventually, makikita mo eh. Makita mo kung paano ka makakalabas or makakalagpas dun sa ganong state. Pero in a way, meron din siyang negative side kasi nakakalimutan na nating parang panindigan. Ang dali kasing takasan eh. Since online lang siya, pwede kang gumawa ng sarili mong dummy account para lang sa angst mo. Nakakalimutan na natin i-claim na ako to, na oo, ako may kasalanan nito, ako yung nag-post niyan. Ang dali-daling tumakbo. So, I think, in a way, we can see this as an opportunity na the millennials right now are challenged na mag-discern ka, na discern properly kung dapat ba siyang i-post. If you really need to post it, kasi kailangan mo ng outlet, kasi kailangan mo ng catharsis, then do so. Pero, claim it, na I did it. And then eventually, maintindihan naman ng tao yun kung talagang properly, kailangan mo kasi talaga eh. Nandun lang talaga yung I think opportunity lang talaga siya for the people to learn how to control themselves.
Sa akin naman, since nagbago yung era ng yung way to communicate, noon pa man meron naman when you run something, you can write it down. Kaya nga nauso yung diary. So doon, nireklamo, pati yung reklamo sa parents. Tapos sila lang yung may access doon. Sila lang. But now, it's a different thing. Merong blogging, may ebook, tapos you post, and people will read it. And the negativity that you post or you write, or the positivity, na-emulate nila. Unlike before, it's a different thing. Ikaw lang, diary. Or, depende sa'yo kung ipapakalap mo yung rant mo o kaya yung positivity mo. Depende sa'yo. Pero ngayon nga, dahil nagbago siya, naging easy way to do it. Online, then do it. Yun nga yung sabi. Kaya gusto ko yung think before you click. But being a Christian, being a Catholic, I say, before you post, you pray first. If that's a rant, maybe you can tell it to, quote-unquote, in a personal way or a real way with someone instead of ranting online and people will hear it, people will read it, etc.
But is this also a sign na people or millennials or the young people needs to be heard? Kasi, di ba, dati, minsan, napapansin natin, no, pag may nag-uusap yung matatanda, sabi ng parents, huwag ka sumali dito, matatanda yung mga ganyan. Di ba mga ganon? So, is this also a sign na kaya sila din sa Facebook lumalabas? Kasi they also need to be heard na they didn't have the chance to say it out loud in their own homes or yung mga ganon.
Kanina you mentioned na isa sa mga naging factors bakit nanalo ang ating presidente now is yung power ng social media. In the same manner, na nakikita ko din tong opportunity kasi through it, nakikita din natin kung ano yung, kung hanggang saan ang kayang abutin ng kabataan sa gusto niyang sabihin. I remember one time, meron akong na-encounter na youth, nagra-run siya online. For me, I saw it as an opportunity to evangelize, especially us, we call ourselves online missionaries. Nagkaroon ako ng opportunity to, number one, pacify her. Second, to, although hindi ko na pinublic yung comment ko, piniem ko na lang siya, what's happening, what's wrong, would you like to blah, blah, blah. So for me, it's more of an opportunity. Sabi ng iba, you can just ignore them. Pero ako, mas nakikita ko siya na oportunidad para makatulong. So, mas okay yun sa akin.
At least, since nilabas niya yung sakit niya sa ulo o yung mga rants niya sa buhay, pwede mo siyang kausapin. Oh. Totoo ba, Sir Jens, na more or less yung mga young people who are into online jobs right now are young people, are nasa millennials na edad? O meron ding mga medyo nasa hindi na millennial? Ano bang term yun? Nasa Generation X. Ano yung data ngayon? Mga kabataan ba mas halos nandito?
Actually,
Or they explore it first before looking for work outside?
well, since sabihin na natin at this very moment, siguro, well, hindi siguro, actually, the data that I've recently saw, usually the younger generations talaga starts from 22 to 26. Yan yung peak
Okay.
nung ano. Although, hindi sila yung tipong sasabihin na natin na nag-venture sa online work because of the full benefit of it. Ang nangyayari is they want to explore to be part of that new economy na tinatawag. Pero yung mga talagang nagtatagal, sila yung mga tao na sabihin na natin naka-experience na mag-work sa corporate. And dumating na dun sa tinatawag na mid-career crisis na they want something else out of it. So, yun. Meron talaga, may mga 50 years old, may mga 60 wala pa ako na-meet. Pero may mga 55 meron.
Oo, ma-attend ng mga workshops mo, di ba?
Hindi na talaga nag-work. Iba nga magtuturo eh. Techie granny. Di ba? May techie, lola techie ngayon, may freelancing granny na tinatawag din. Yung mga ganon. So, marami.
Wow, cool yun, freelancing granny. Pwede tayo nun pag tayo yung naging granny. Pero, hindi naman. Wag pa tayo pumunta doon. Medyo bata pa tayo. Pero nakakatuwa din, no? Kasi nga yung mga, do you see later on na halos mawawalan, kukunti na lang yung kailangan ng office space. Kasi kung makikita mo ngayon, marami ng mga shops dito. May mga, may mga lumalabas na coffee shops na they offer their place as offices, di ba? Mayroon ng shared offices. Kasi online na lahat yung trabaho. So, Chrissy, from your own experience from the Jungle Post, ano yung mga na-observe mo ngayon when it comes to that? Kasi nga, ang dami nga meron isang place in Pasig, di ba, na parang naging office space na siya. Pero coffee shop, may overflowing coffee. Tapos nag-rent ka na lang ng space mo or hours.
Yes.
No, para makapag-work ka with all those free internet. So, this is also a booming business actually for young people. So ano yung mga na-observe mo ngayon?
Meron kaming isang na-encounter na co-working space talaga yung business nila. Kumbaga, nagpaparent sila ng rooms dun sa mga startup businesses or companies na wala pang pera para sa sariling office. Tapos, sa isang building kasi yun, tapos 3 floors siya. Sobrang daming small businesses na nandun. And nakita ko yung positive effect niya in a way na ang laki ng network na nabuo. Parang, di ba, magkakaiba sila eh. Diverse, very various yung types of job, types of businesses doon. So, if you need, kung kanyari kami sa Jungle Post, we tackle production din kasi, so nag-AVP kami. Example, kung nandun kami sa co-working space na yon, pwede kaming mag-tap lang, baka merong production business doon or photography. Baka pwedeng i-hire ka namin. So, positive yung co-working spaces kasi yung network ng mga small businesses, nagko-connect siya. So, alam mo kung sino yung pwede mong lapitan. So, alam mo kung sino yung pwede mong tulungan. Yun yung for me.
Yung pala ang tawag doon, co-working
space. Talaga nag-evolve na eh. In fact, as the industry of online work progresses, talaga nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang opportunities for that. Ang marami nga ngayon ginagawa yung mga computer shops na medyo humihina na, nagko-convert.
Kasi lahat na may laptop, di ba?
Yes. Ang nangyayari, na-convert na sila into co-working space, especially sa provinces. That's what we're actually telling them na kung medyo mahina na yung internet shop mo, why not turn it into more of an office space na kahit mas mataas pa yung rent per hour, wala pa rin problema kasi kayang bayaran ng online worker. Kaya nilang kitain.
Provide ka lang ng coffee,
O
di
kahit nga
ba?
walang coffee minsan.
Basta may internet.
Basta may space, yeah.
Nakakatawa, no? Kasi yun yung mga nakikita ko ngayon mga kabataan. Saan ka pupunta? Ay, may office ako doon. Pero hindi naman pala nila office. Pero space lang yung nire-rent nila. So, which is a new thing here in the country, di ba? So, ikaw, Mike, ano yung mga masasabi mo sa mga kabataan ngayon, especially on exploring the things na pwede nilang makita online for jobs, for their careers?
Reading, listening to online jobs.
Kasi paano pa kasi 'di ba na meron palang mga spamming din na parang nanloloko lang na mga how do you discern that? Tsaka I think Sir Jens will also have an answer to that.
Una-una, lapit kayo kay Sir Jen kasi talagang si Sir Jen, naging estudyante ako ni Sir Jen. So, maraming way to do it. Yun nga since ngayon, ang laki ng possibility on how you do things. Tapos hindi ka na naka-box doon sa kung ano yung work mo. For example, ang schooling mo is accounting. So, hindi ka lang naka-box sa accounting. You can do also graphic designing. You can do also web designing, etc. etc. Pwede ka rin maging host or whatever. So, ang daming pwede. So, sa mga youth who is encountering or they will look at their future career, ang masasabi ko, ang advice ko, una-una, alamin nila kung ano yung gusto nilang gawin. Alamin nila kung anong gusto nilang gawin. And of course, they pray because when they pray, the Lord will give them the insight on how to do things well, on how they will work on what the Lord is calling them to do at that moment.
Advice dun sa kapwa natin millennials. Since sa tingin ko, natatawa nga ako kasi before sabi ko parang ang unfair. Kasi lahat yata ng pwedeng ma-invent na. So parang para sa atin, ano na yung pwede nating invention? So parang para tayo sisikat, wala nang pwedeng invention kasi lahat nandito na. And eventually, nag-click sa akin na hindi pala totoo yun. Kasi this generation, ito yung oras ng exploration. Nag-explore tayo ng different possibilities, lalo na dahil nag-boom bigla yung cyberspace nga. So sobrang daming nag-open na opportunity, sobrang daming exploration na kailangan gawin. So dahil doon, we also need caution. Sa tingin ko, dapat mag-weigh tayo properly kung ito ba talaga yung para sa atin. Kasi sobrang dami mong pwedeng gawin eh. Abot kamay na siya eh. I think this is the time na kilalanin mo muna yung sarili mo, kung ano yung skills mo, limitations mo, kung saan ka masaya, ano yung passion mo, ano yung calling mo, before going into that. I mean, you can explore, and then eventually, you be cautious para alam mo na tama yung pipiliin mo dun sa mga in-explore mo.
Ako, going back to my earlier premise, ang key for me is yung values talaga. So, malaking role talaga ng family. Kasi kahit naman ang mga millennials, ang mga kabataan ay natututo ng mag-explore ng sarili nilang mundo, ang paghuhugutan pa rin naman nila yung values na nakuha nila sa family. So for me, that is very important. Number two, while we recognize that the social media is the new platform, the new world for the young people, we should also recognize that we have to learn where to put the balance. Hindi, 'di ba? Ang dami na nga fake accounts sa social media. Second, masyado tayong nai-influence ng social media. So doon mo nga titignan ulit paano mo 'yun i-weigh, paano mo 'yun i-balance. But then again, ang paghuhugutan pa rin noon eh yung values that you're getting from your family.
Napaka-importante at na mare-remind yan. Sabi mo nga, since I have a son, so basically, I really plan to, hindi naman restrict, but really reinforce the values. Kasi inevitable ang exposure sa social media. I mean, it definitely will become part of the culture that they will be growing into. Kailangan lang talaga ma-mold and ma-guide. So it always goes back to the sabihin na natin, the culture ng family mo, kung paano mo i-grow yung anak mo o at least magre-reach out ka. Social media is there to stay. And in fact, we don't know kung ano pa ba yung susunod kasi nandiyan na halos lahat, no? I think if ever there will be another media that will come out, it's something that will probably blow our mind, no? Who knows? Probably virtual reality na yan. Yun na yung medyo, yung tulad ng movie na Surrogate. Hindi na lumalabas. Everything is naka-glass na, but it's totally different. As mentioned kanina, di ba, how to prevent scam or how to make sure na of course, sabi nga, you need to really discern and really think kung talaga bang credible ang tao to. Kasi napakadali ngayon mag-create ng authority in social media. I mean, if you want to be, let's say, to start a speaking career, probably tumayo ka during break habang may malaking conference, tayo ka sa harap, pa-picture ka sa likod, and then post mo social media. Thanks for joining my talk and listening. Diba? And for speaking engagement and invite, PM me, di ba?
Pwede pala yun.
Diba? Napakadali. So, ang lagi kong binibigay na tip nga dun sa mga naghahanap ng taong mapagkakatiwalaan or sabihin na natin para hindi sila ma-scam, if you're gonna look for a mentor or a coach, kung free, kasi may mga free naman, kung free, make sure na passionate. Kasi kung hindi yan passionate, pag medyo humirap na o naging busy, iiwan ka sa ere. Yun ang mangyayari. Kung paid naman, make sure na competent. Paano mo malalaman na competent? Simple, tignan mo yung wall niya sa Facebook. Kung consistent yung mga sinasabi niya at ginagawa na niya for the longest time, then there's a big chance na talagang he's knowledgeable in that. Pero kung tipong parang wala ka masyado nakikita sa mga ginagawa niya and then sasabihin niya, I'll teach you on how to be this and that, medyo, teka, and then pay me. So, yung mga ganun. Also, when it comes, let's say, for online opportunities, especially for work, hindi kailangan magbayad. Although iba nagpapabayad para, halimbawa, we'll give you job, just pay ganito muna. Anything
Parang may registration fee.
May registration fee. It may end up giving you a job, pero baka mauwi mamaya, mag-recruit ka lang instead na gumawa ng trabaho. So there are really credible sites where you can find work or different opportunities online. You just really need to know who to trust.
Usapang sweldo naman tayo before tayo mag-go on sa mga may questions from our friends here. Usapang sweldo, pag ikaw ba nag-online work, magkano ba ang salary ng isang, potential salary ng isang freelance online worker? Tama ba?
It really varies, no? Okay. Again, kasi ang nangyayari, pag ginagamit natin salitang sweldo, nagiging employee mindset eh. But the thing about it is, as an online worker, you're an entrepreneur eh. Negosyante ka nga eh. But if let's say kung ano yung pinakamagandang benchmark for starting, don't go below $3 per hour.
$3 per hour.
Oo, don't go below that, no? Kasi iba talaga per hour ang usapan. Now, napakadaming variations on that eh. Pero you can even charge $50 per hour. Yung iba malakas ang loob, nakakalusot, no? Pero sooner or later, makikita rin naman yung kung competent sila o hindi. So, it really varies. Yung iba naman, bumababa
kasi ikaw nagde-demand ng charge. Somehow, ikaw as the,
yes.
Ikaw yung nagsasabi kung magkano, di ba?
Minsan unahan kayo sa interview, kung kukontrolin mo yung conversation, halimbawa, ang dating mo tayo, okay, so, diba, ikaw nag-request ng Skype, call, or siya. Pag ganyan, okay, so, these are the things that we will talk about today. Samantala, ikaw yung in-interview lang. Tapos i-outline mo na ikaw yung nag-control, then you can, dictate your price. Pero pag hinayaan mo siya, ang naging relationship niyon, boss mo siya, employee ka. So, it's how you control eh.
Oh, okay. Kaya yan ha. Don't go beyond $3. Below $3 per hour.
Depende rin yun. Kasi yung sa situation mostly nung kay Sir Genesis, I think yun yung talagang, yun na yung work nila. Mas focused, parang yun na yung, anong term nun? Yun na yung mas priority nila. Pero meron kasing mga freelance na sideline lang nila. Ako nagpo-freelance writing kasi ako for different companies eh. Nakapagsulat na ako ng mga US-based. Tapos yun yung malaki talaga magsweldo. Tapos per output siya. So parang kung gano'ng kadami yung article na nagawa mo for them or gano'ng kadami yung nasulat mo for them, ganun kalaki yung sweldo mo. And sometimes, pwede ka naman din mag-request na busy po ako, baka pwedeng konti lang yung gagawin ko. Konti lang yung susulat mo, pero konti lang din yung ibibigay nilang sweldo. So may mga output-based na freelance. Well, okay din yung ganun. Pag meron kang standard talaga na
pwede pa tayo magpalibre kay Casey. Okay, so may questions po tayo from the floor. Please say your name and your organization.
I'm Pau Saldivar from Youth Pinoy. Just want to ask if anyone can answer the question. What are your thoughts about so we call the trolls online or those who talagang online bashers? And then meron din kasi term sa atin na parang keyboard warriors na nangyayari. How would you deal with those people na parang lahat na lang puro atake na lang sa lahat ng statements na sinasabi? So parang kapag ikaw nag-post ng something, parang ang hirap na kasi they will attack you at some point kahit sa anong angles na nangyayari. What's your thoughts about it?
Meron akong na-encounter sa isang video ng Jungle Post na ginawa namin. Gumawa kasi kami ng video about martial law. Tapos, medyo nag-boost kami, tapos medyo madaming nag-share, medyo madaming nag-like. Tapos yun yung pinakamaraming comments so far. Nakakatawa yung nangyari doon sa, sa trend na yun. Kasi merong mga nagsasabi na parang, ano ba naman yan, puro na lang kayo reklamo, ganyan. Yung usual trolls, usual bashers, na alam mong hindi naman nila naintindihan yung issue, tapos nag-comment sila. Tapos meron kaming mga writers ng The Jungle Post na nag-comment din doon. Tapos for the whole day, takbo lang ng takbo, balikan lang sila ng, ganito yung nangyari, ganyan yung nangyari. Tapos parang eventually, nag-try akong sumagot. Tapos natawa ko kasi, nung nag-comment ako, minessage niya ako ng PM. Sabi pa niya sa akin, Iha, ganito, ganyan. So parang pinersonal attack niya ako. Possible talaga na mangyari yun pag merong trolls. Kasi sometimes, ewan ko, they feed pag nasistress ka na sa kanila. So I think, for me, hindi natin basta pwedeng pabayaan sila na pag merong nag-comment ng trolls dyan, pabayaan mo, huwag mong pansinin kasi that's being so passive about it na ang hirap din naman na wala kang gagawin. Pero, you should come to a point na pag tinry mo, try to correct them, give them facts, give them information na alam mong legit, pero hindi pa rin sila nakikinig, that's when you stop. Kasi those people, those kinds of people, they just do it to stress you out. They just do it for the fun of it. Hindi yung talagang gusto nilang makinig. Pero pag alam mong sumasagot, tapos medyo nagbe-bend na, paano kung ganito, paano kung ganyan, yung medyo nagre-reason, pero nag-a-adjust din yung mindset niya. Those people, talk to them. Kasi there's a chance na baka mag-meet kayo halfway and then ma-realize mo, tama rin pala siya. Pero yung mga taong talagang strong, tapos wala nang kwento yung sinasabi, basta may masabi. Let's just pray for them.
Ako siguro learn when, how, and who to ignore. I remember one time yung ating distribution of candies in exchange of condoms last Valentine's Day. Kinover yun ng media and then they posted it with Tito Eric, me, and AJ sa photo. And then nakita ko yung mga comment, these 3 people, sana sila na lang ang kinontraceptives noon, blah, 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 blah. So, alam mo kung nag-focus ako doon, I will not end, I won't finish answering to all of them. No? Again, yun nga ang key. Siguro, learn when to react, how to react, and who to ignore, period. So, kasi parang hindi ka matatapos diba? Second, siguro, malinaw dapat sa atin na yung social media is not our real world. Although this is a whole new world, pero hindi ito yung the only world. So siguro learn how to also to box yourself para hindi ka affected sa mga trolls.
Kasi ngayon, wala nang pinipili, no? Hindi dahil artista ka. Kahit normal tao ka lang, makunan ka lang ng video na may kaaway ka, ikaw na yung may kasalanan. So, cyberbullying, yun yung term nga sabi ni Chrissy. How do we prevent from being cyberbullied? Mga ganon. At the same time, tayo din siguro, minsan hindi natin mapipilitang mag-comment, makipag-away. How do we know when to stop? How do we know when to stop? And how do we know who to ignore? Yun yung mga...
Siguro, Sky, importante din na sa umpisa pa lang alam mo na yung objective ng troll. Kasi kung doon pa lang alam mo nang ang purpose niya is to bash you, to contradict everything that you will say, so what's the point? Although, on the other hand, it can be an opportunity also to evangelize again. But sabi nga ni Chrissy kanina, pag nakita mo na yung mga comment niya is talagang pabalik lang ng pabalik dun sa gusto kanya i-pin down, well, that is the time. You have to talaga decide to ignore.
At tingnan mo na yung profile niya, kung walang laman, troll yun.
Dami yun. Meron akong regarding cyberbullying, 2 points kasi siya. Pwedeng ikaw yung mang cyberbully tapos hindi mo alam na nang sa cyberbully ka na pala. Pwedeng ikaw yung nasa cyberbully. Dun sa first point, paano ba natin may iwasan na mag-cyberbully? I think it's isipin mo lang to. Remember the person. Na yes, we are online. Yes, merong cyber reality, cyber world. Yes, hindi natin siya kaharap. Pero that doesn't mean na walang tao sa kabila nun. Always remember the person. Pag nag-post ka, may tao na makakabasa niyan sa kabilang side. Hindi porket monitor yung kaharap mo, wala nang tao dyan. Always remember the person. So, as a person, alam mo kung ano yung makakasakit eh. Second, pag na-cyberbully ka, ayun nga, sabi mo nga, Ate Sky, wala nang pinipili ang mga tao. Minsan nagpo-post ka lang ng medyo, feel mo inspired ka, tapos magpo-post kang ganyan. Tapos merong mang babash sa'yo na parang, okay, ano bang ginawa ko sa'yo? Wala naman akong ginawa sa'yo, ba't mo ako ginaganyan? I think that's the point na you have to be firm in yourself na before you face social media, siguraduhin mo kung sino ka. Kasi kung firm ka na ito yung pagkatao ko, kahit anong sabihin sa'yo, maapektuhan ka man, makaka-recover ka eh. Pag eventually it's too much na, learn to go offline kahit for a few days lang, for a few weeks.
I remember this nung pag ikaw ay parang binubuli, whatever. Ang puno kapag mabunga, binabato. At yung latang walang laman, maingay.
Ganun pala.
Add ko rin kasi I remember nung may init pa yung RH bill noon at kasi I manage yung
That's one of
social
the big,
media.
no?
I manage social media ng parish namin. So, meron talagang nang totroll. So of course, tama nga yung sabi ni Sir na kailangang alamin mo muna intensyon nung nagpo-post at himayin mo talaga kung iikot o hindi. To the point na kailangan mo rin i-engage talaga. Hindi mo pwedeng hayaang mag-ano. Kasi na-notice ko dun sa nagtotroll dun sa fan page, chine-check niya talaga kung may nag-admin. So, pag tipong parang malambot ang admin o wala yung presence, gagawin niya talagang tatadda rin niya yung comments and everything, i-hijack niya. So, definitely, dapat i-engage mo rin sila and then to gauge them, parang negotiator. And then once nakita mo na talagang kung useless to, since fan page naman yun, then you have an option to block them or delete everything para hindi na sila makapag-create ng more damage. But definitely engage them anyway. So, yun.
Questions po?
Erwin po sa Net25. Sir, with regards dun sa, sabi nga, security ng mga worker natin online, paano yun, sir? Halimbawa, paano sila magkakaroon ng contract doon sa kanilang in-apply? At the same time, doon sa online business, sir, paano naman yung responsibilidad nila sa ating lipunan, mga tax permits? Paano yun, sir? Paano bibigyan?
Okay. So, dun sa unang question about security, definitely may mga nangi-scam talaga. But one thing that I've realized is that minsan, or sabihin na natin, 50-50 na, mas nai-scam ang kliyente. No, because there are some instances where the Filipinos are the one who are actually somewhat taking advantage of it. After babayaran na advance ng 1 buwan, tapos hindi na magpapakita. Marami kaming kliyente na na-encounter na nagre-reklamong gano'n na wala na lang tong taong to after namin mabayaran. But of course, there are legitimate claims. At ang best kung mag-uumpisa ka pa lang talaga is to actually go dun sa mga tinatawag nating online jobs platform. Kasi ang setup nila, meron silang escrow service. Parang ang mangyayari, yung kliyente, magbabayad sa platform na yun, yung website na yun, tapos sabihin, may trabaho ako na kailangan ko ng tao. Now, sasabihin naman ng platform, sige, may trabaho ka, mag-deposit ka ng pera. So sila yung kakapit. Ngayon, popost na yung trabaho, tapos mag-uusap kayo. So both ends, pag sinabi na ng worker na Pilipino na, tapos ko na yung trabaho, check na niya. Pag in-approve na ng client, tapos na, then i-release na yung pera. Now, pag hindi ni-release, pwedeng may mediator ka. So yun yung pinaka-safe na na approach kung nag-umpisa ka pa lang. Pero kung tipong gusto mo na walang may kumukomisyon sa kinikita mo, pwede ka naman sa labas, although risky na yon kasi ikaw na may ikipag-negotiate. So, parang business pa rin yan eh. Pag wala ka ng mediator, medyo risky na talaga siya. So yun. Now, regarding naman sa yung mga online business o kahit sa online work, definitely the government is aware that there's this segment in the, sabi na natin underground economy pa kasi hindi pa naman talaga ma-identify kung paano sila kumikita at tataksan. No? Kasi maraming issues dyan. Pero the idea still remains that anyone who earns, whether online or offline, as long as nasa Philippines, should actually pay taxes. Marami naman po nagre-register na. Ang nagiging complaint lang ng madalas, especially sa mga willing, gusto na nga namin magrehistro at magbayad. Ang naging problema, ang hirap ng proseso. Yun yung challenge.
Is there a different process when it comes to that na online? Especially yung mga online shops, yung mga ganun. May proseso ba yun pag-register sa mga BIR?
May special process siya kasi may mga certain licenses pa na kailangan silang kunin talaga on top of that. Kasi cybersecurity na pinag-uusapan natin eh. So yung mga ganun.
First, kaya ko, I think more than that, yung legislators natin should take this as an opportunity also to provide safety nets doon sa ating mga ini-encourage na mga young people, for that matter, to become entrepreneur online. Kasi ngayon, hindi pa malinaw kung paano sila poprotektahan. Although we have existing laws on the use of the social media, on the use of the yung cyberbully, meron tayong ganyan, meron tayong online, I just forgot the exact meron, pero mahina pa tayo doon pagdating doon sa pagbibigay ng protection doon sa mga entrepreneurs. Kaya nga maganda din tong opportunity sa ating mga legislators to look into it, and then while we encourage our people to engage into business online, dapat ma-provide din sila ng ng safeguards.
Questions? Meron pa?
Last question from my side. I think Sir Jen can answer this. What is the long-term po ba yung parang work online? What if, kunyari, employee ka ngayon and then there's a doubt about it, baka mamaya parang short-term lang tong klaseng trabaho tapos iiwanan ko yung benefits from my company. Ano pong masasabi niyo dun?
Okay. Ayan. Yan yung mga actually recent na lumalabas na tanong na especially marami na rin kasi nasa industry. I can say it is a long-term thing. And in fact, it is being, I personally advocate na a digital career or online work, every Filipino should actually have one. Because for the reason that once you have this type of career or experience man lang, pwede mo siyang balikan uli. Ako, for me, nung nag-umpisa ako sa BPO, and then nag-online work. Now, nung may nag-offer sa akin ng corporate job na medyo type ko naman, so ginawa ko sa freelancing ko, ginawa kong part-time. Tapos nag-corporate ako. So, nung medyo parang ayoko na sa corporate, since iba naging takbo ng company, hindi ako naging worried na paano yan, hindi ako makaalis, wala akong babalikan. Freelancing can always be your safety net or yung pagkakaroon ng career na online. Now, the difference and advantage then is that the more you stay and the more jobs that you take at natatapos mo, the more lumahaba yung portfolio mo na kahit anytime pwede mong balikan. Kasi may proof ka na, track record ka na eh. So it is really advantageous for as many people as possible to have this type of skill set and experience. Kaya marami ngayong nasa college pa lang, nagtitake na ng ganon. Kasi minsan, ang hirap talaga, unang tanong lagi, experience. May experience ka na ba? Wala. So, ang ginagawa, for example, kung ang course mo is sa accounting, usually tatanong, may experience ka na ba sa actual world? Wala. Pero wag ka. Mas malaki pa kinikita nila pa nag-online work sila. So, ang nangyayari ngayon minsan, nagiging option na lang yung to work in offline since gusto talaga nila. But they can already earn online. So, it's a long-term thing talaga. That's what I have observed so far.
May babalikan ka, no? Meron kang back. Nakakatuwa din naman kasi meron a lot of opportunities right now are opening up, especially online. Hindi lang siya pa-rant-rant lang tayo sa Facebook natin, but at the same time, pwede pala natin gamitin yon to earn and to start our own business kasi on the marketing side, mas namamarket mo siya, mas marami kang taong nakakita kung ano yung skill mo talaga.
Sky, meron pala yung law is Philippine e-commerce law. So yung mga online entrepreneurs natin can look into this para makita din nila paano sila pinoprotektahan ng existing laws that we have.
So makikita natin
Philippine
to sa...
e-commerce law.
Okay.
So you can Google it anyway.
Philippine e-commerce law. Tingnan natin yan mamaya kasi baka dun tayo mag-work. Anyway, so aside from that, meron tayong mga events no na mangyayari this November. So please take this time to tell everyone what's going to happen this November 19.
Okay. Good morning ulit. I'm Michael Lacsina from Youth Pinoy. This coming November 19, we will have a Catholic Social Media Summit. Whole day po yan, morning up to the afternoon. And then, in the evening, we will have Catholic Social Media Awards. So, pack yung event natin. Gaganapin yan sa H2O Hotel dito sa tabi ng Quirino Grandstand. And it's really exciting kasi yung Catholic Social Media Summit will focus on Laudato Si. How the social media can help maintain and preserve the environment.
May ganun na pala.
Tapos sa gabi naman yung Catholic Social Media Awards. So we will award those Facebook group, Facebook page, blog, podcast, etc. Diocesan website. We will award them for their giving their values, also inspiring people, positivity, etc. So magkakaroon yan. So very exciting. November 19.
I think nominations are still open, di ba?
It's still open ang nomination. You can still nominate your Facebook pages or Facebook group. And nandun yun sa, just visit catholicsocialmediaawards.com. Nominate them.
So we need to also recognize those people who are telling us the values that we need to learn, especially online. Kasi marami pala eh. Yes. Marami palang mga Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts na talagang nagpo-promote din ng right values and truth. At meron din mga individuals who are also influencing other people to live in such a way na, yes, nasa online world nga tayo, pero we still have all the values that we need to have, especially right now, na talagang ang trend kung ano lang makita mo online, sa TV, sa lahat ng media natin, papaniwalaan natin. So, we need to be focused on that.
Since we've been talking about the advantages and disadvantages of the changes brought about by social media, by cyberspace, I think Catholic Social Media Summit and Awards is a very positive event kasi in this time, alam naman natin na medyo taxing, no? Medyo stressful at times yung online. Catholic Social Media Summit, it prioritizes to ihaharap na these are the positive things we could do. We could use social media to fight for our environment. Meron tayong mga social media awardan na they exist. So let's inspire other people na we have advantages and disadvantages. Why not focus on the advantages and ask other people na dun mag-weigh in, dun mag-side. So, supportahan po natin tong event na to.
Ayun. Tsaka, bago tayo mag-end, at bago tayo kumuha ng mga last statements from our guests, baka si Sir Genesis, pwede niya tayong i-invite sa kanyang mga online workshops. At saan ba namin makikita ito? Paano ba kami mag-e-explore on the online jobs?
Actually, this November then, it just coincides, no? But it's not my event. But there's this event dito sa Manila mangyayari, ang tinatawag din, the Freelancing Fair. If I'm not mistaken, it will happen on November 19 then. And I'll be speaking there as well. So it's the biggest gathering of online freelancers dito sa Manila in general. Hindi pa kasi kaya yung Philippines, yung buong Philippines. But there'll be one soon because since I'm also part of the government's initiative nga to promote online jobs in the Philippines, there will be one event that the Department of ICT will be organizing, supposedly this December, but na-move ng March, tinatawag na Philippine Impact Sourcing Summit. So how the countrysides are being helped and sustained by online work. So that will happen around March. But for November, mangyayari yung freelancer fair. So for more information on that, visit lang yung freelancerfair.com. Tapos, pina-finalize pa kasi iba kong mga trainings, but there will be one November 26 sa Ortigas. So, it's about digital career, how to get started offering customer support services from home. Ideal to sa mga may call center experience. Para, kasi ako, galing sa call center and sabi ko nun, parang hindi to pang matagalan. Gusto ko na sa bahay, walang stress. So yung mga ganun ba? So we're definitely offering various trainings to help people. So for more details na lang, visit na lang yung website onlinejobsuniversity.com for anything about online work.
Okay, so yun nga, before we end, we'd like to get final statements from our panel today. Maraming salamat sa inyong apat. So let's start with Michael.
Again, good morning. I'm Michael Laksina. Gusto ko lang sabihin sa mga millennial, including myself, to have that ground, values coming from the family. If your family is not grounded with the great values, look for a community that can give you the right values. And social media is one aspect of your life. It's not your life. You can earn something from social media, but it's not just it. There are many things to explore. There are many things to discover. Here in the Philippines, you can go somewhere else, etc., etc. Ang daming pwedeng makita, ang daming pwedeng ma-experience. And social media is not just it. It's just one part of the life that we have. So explore, innovate, and then you pray, and attend Catholic Social Media Summit. Thank you.
Simple lang yung final statement ko. Social media is a gift. We should use it wisely. And each and every one of us has that power to decide na gamitin siya in a positive way, na mag-focus dun sa advantages, na mag-focus dun sa magandang nagagawa. Sometimes magsislip out tayo and mapupunta tayo dun sa disadvantage na nagiging disadvantage siya. We could always go back and see it as a gift. Once we see it as a gift, we would use it positively.
Again, good morning. Thank you, Sky, for inviting us. I'm Peter Pardo from Love Life Philippines. Katulad ng sabi ni Trixie, for me, social media is a gift. Technology is a gift. And like any other gifts, siguro the best way to show appreciation to that gift is to use that gift responsibly and to good use. Let us remember that the social media is just there to provide us, to make our life easier, but that is not our real world. It's an opportunity to it's a place wherein we could evangelize people. In the same manner, pwede din dun tayo masira at ma-distort ang values. So we really have to learn to discern and go back to our roots, the family. Kasi doon natin din naman pagguhugutan lagi ng values lang. And from there, makikita natin kung ano ang gamit ng social media sa atin. Thank you.
So hi, good morning again. My name is Genesis from onlinejobsuniversity.com. I believe that social media is a tool. And just like any other tool, it is neutral. So the effect on you and your effect on others is based on how you want to use social media. Cyberspace will continue to grow and evolve into something that probably we don't know yet at this point. But definitely, it's the person who would be the one to determine whether this technology will actually do good or bad to other people. So again, bottom line, be responsible in using this tool called social media.
Yon. So maraming salamat sa ating mga guests for today. We also like to thank Net25 at GNN for being here. Happy Halloween kasi Halloween and holiday ngayon. So thank you so much for being here and sa ating mga guests, si Genesis, Peter, Chrissy, and Michael. So thank you so much. And sa ngalan ni Sir Melo Acuña, napapasalubungan tayo pagbalik niya from China. This is Sky Ortigas for Tapatan sa Aristocrat. Maraming salamat po.